Everybody's ready. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. Let the minutes reflect everyone that's here. I think we got one on the way. We do have enough for it. Our minutes were provided to us via email. Up. Any corrections or changes to the minutes?
Make a motion to approve both sets of minutes.
We got a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? Both sets of minutes are approved.
Mr. Chairman, before we get too much further, there is an item I'd like to add to the agenda. I'm sorry it's so last minute, but it's just a discussion about holding future meetings at the courthouse now that we got that new AV system installed.
Okay.
We can just put that under, you can put it in the board member comments, because that's basically what's going to be.
All right. Let's do that.
Excuse me, in the minutes, I was asked to amend the previous minutes to reflect that Stephen had abstained from the voting on the shop building. I did not do that because I went back and listened to the time. And he did not abstain, he voted no. So I need something to cover that where I did not change. the
Is that in July 6th?
Should be.
That was the meeting we called meeting, right?
He was asked to abstain on the
On
call.
the June
To
22nd.
change it on
I
the,
was asked to
Change
change
it on
the
the
June
June.
22nd meeting.
but it was the June 6th actual meeting, right? You was asked to change it on the,
Is when you approve the minutes.
right.
And then the next meeting.
The minutes reflected there were 4 yeses, 1 no. And questioned whether, I know that I'd asked him, are you gonna vote? Right. Sure what the vote was, but I thought he did.
Okay, so,
He had said he did, that was the question, was whether he voted yes, he voted no. But it was, the minutes reflected 6 people here and voted 4 and 1. Somebody got left out, where I was coming from. with that.
okay.
And I think that's why I asked for it to be corrected. Is that correct? Is that what people need?
Well, I had that you had, the motion be approved with the vote count for the approval of the building be amended to reflect that Stephen Chambers abstained from voting.
I thought he did. But I'm saying there were 6 people, you had 4 yes, 1 no. What was the 6th vote?
True.
I thought it was an abstention, but evidently she said it was a no, which
Let's see, it was my vote.
everybody, there was 6 of us here, was there not?
Everybody was here.
All members.
All members were here.
So my question is, who didn't vote?
I thought I had all
Oh,
those.
True. It says
He
Chairman.
can't vote. Chairman can't.
Can't vote.
Why?
That's the time.
Oh, okay. So then it was reflected 4 yes and 1 no, I know. But now you're saying he voted no.
No.
No,
You said no.
he voted yes for the bill.
You said no.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you said no, that's what's really
I think
confusing
she
me.
meant no. No, I don't know.
I don't know what you meant, I know what you said
But I
he
think-
voted no, that's
The
why.
one that wasn't Craig,
Okay. Okay,
as chairman, I don't think he
Chairman.
voted.
Now, the way it was stated in the minute is the motion passed with White Jewel voting no. That's, I didn't specify
yes,
how many yes votes.
okay.
Does this need to be amended? This was on the June 1st column.
I did not thoroughly understand why I was called out as a no vote by name when the yes votes were not called out by name. And when I thought there was also an abstention. That was the main reason I was questioning it was, if it said 4 yes, 1 no, the motion passed, I wouldn't have said a word. But when it had my name specifically saying no, that's what kind of raised the whole question.
Okay,
As
so
long as it's correct, that's all I want.
In the future, just a suggestion, a roll call.
Yeah, we'll do a roll call for now.
That way clear, but
Yeah,
if you're on something.
and I didn't realize you weren't voting on things. I think Mark voted on things, did he not, generally? No, okay. I don't know why you couldn't.
Isn't that how it is in y'all's arena? If y'all have a time, he can break.
Yeah, but I'm not a member of the county commission, I'm just, I'm a charter.
I mean,
agent.
some places do, and I know a city mayor can break that.
Well, I know on the animal shelter board, I didn't know I could vote, I went back and we're using Robert Rules of Order for a small board, the chairman can vote. I can't participate in the discussion, but I can vote.
That was what I'm saying, you can. I don't know any reason you couldn't or shouldn't
Right.
be voting.
I don't think we should be there.
Thank you, Anthony, and that's what I was operating on.
That's something he never did that I can remember though.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying you have to, I'm just saying I think you could. But,
I'm just saying that's history.
Yeah. Well, I'll do some research on that, see,
I don't know
Yeah.
why
but,
typically, with six members, it probably would be good in that you're never gonna have a tie.
back to the minutes are correct, but we had an amendment
the next one, yeah,
the next meeting, but we did not change that, we did not amend it.
right.
So how do we fix?
But that's not the June 22nd, so right?
It's the June 1st
June
meeting.
1st. The June 22nd and the July 6th are accurate as to what they reflect.
Right.
Right.
But it's the June 1st.
It's the June 22nd minutes that have, the motion to change the June 1st minutes.
Right. But you're wanting to address the June 1st minutes, not the June 22nd. The June 22nd are accurate as to what they reflect, they happen
To
at
what
that
they,
meeting.
yes,
Your question is on the June 1st.
do we need something in the minutes showing that we did not change the June 1st minutes? Question.
Because we had amendment too.
I see what you're saying.
Can I withdraw the,
First, we're gonna have to make a motion. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we bring back an issue previously voted on, that be approval of the June 1st minutes.
Motion's on the table. Second, all in favor?
I,
Any opposed?
I would ask that this all be stated on the minutes, so that's there in the future if anybody needs to look at it. Okay. And then that brings back up the issue of the vote count. I make a motion, just make it 4-1, and then it doesn't matter. Or just remove any names that's stated in it, if it's 4-1. I think that's what was in the June 1st minutes, right?
Yeah, I just had these,
Okay.
why vote, so
so
just
we got-
change.
Just take out the mention of Dwight, just leave it 4-1.
Okay, we need that in form of a motion, right?
I make a motion that remove the statement of Dwight Jewell voting no from the June 1st minutes. And then approve the minutes. Well, we'll just make that motion. We'll do a second motion after that. So I make a motion to remove Dwight Jewell voting no on the June 1st, 2021 minutes.
Got a motion on the table.
I can't second my
I
motion.
know. What?
I'll
For a
second.
All right. Second, all in favor? Any opposed? No. Motion passed. Now we need,
I make a motion, we approve the June 1st minutes as amended.
motion's on the table.
Well, are you?
Amendments to remove you from taking that from the previous.
Yeah.
It'll be the June first minutes. The June 22nd and July 6th are accurate.
But there's on last minute's request for this set of minutes to be changed.
Well, there was a request at June 22nd to change the June 1st minutes, to amend those. And Mary Dale went back and looked and said it's not. Yes,
If
the
they
vote
were
for
accurate,
the
there was
vote.
no error.
Through your request.
I was going to, if that's the way we need to handle it.
Well, we need to first make a motion to open back up an issue that previously voted on, that being the June 1st minutes. We did that. Then I made the motion to just remove any mention of who voted no or yes, that's a Dwight from the minutes, and that's where we're at right now.
Where the names, one was listed and everybody else wasn't.
Right.
And futuristically, we'll do a roll call,
Mhm.
confirmed, and you have a motion on the table.
I have a motion to remove the mention of Dwight Jewell having voted no.
We voted on that.
Oh, no,
That passed.
no. Okay, I got
Yeah,
confused.
we
So
passed
now
it.
it's to approve the June 1st minutes as amended.
Second.
So it'd be to approve them without any mention of the names, voting yes or no or anything else.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
You apparently were watching on Facebook. Did you get that I asked again the discussion moving
I
on
did,
there? Okay.
yes, thank you.
All right.
Just coming through all that.
It was coming very good. There was some research.
Financial report. Southside was provided to you earlier. Did anyone see anything that jumped out at them?
Is this for the month of June or is this year?
This is the final.
But this is-
This is as
We're always
is.
a month behind, but Brenda, July,
Yeah.
report that you.
Year end.
So this is the year end. Is there anything else gonna be?
The auditors will have pension adjustments and stuff.
So far as we know, this should be pretty reflective of year end.
Any other discussion? On financial? Motion approved.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Financials are approved. Water loss report.
And can I ask one question? Because this looks like this income statement is strictly to the month of June. That's what's confusing me. It looks like it for June in the summary statement. Was saying for year end.
It's the June balance, but then you've got a year to date.
Okay.
Budget.
Okay. So this is in year, June, but also,
Year to date.
I was looking up at period to year end, you know, that's what it's on. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you. I'm old and speak.
Still working, I've got a little work to do on the phone. We have to do that report this coming year, that AJJ, I'll have it ready next week. We're going to use the information to put together, I'll have some data for y'all to look at next month.
Okay.
We got to do that for the comptroller, whatever that guy has.
We'll pick back up on that next month.
SRF, I'm still in correspondence with them. They've asked more questions. I've sent everything they've asked for. They missed the water line that runs from 141 to the tank, so they're having to go back and backtrack on their environmental. It shouldn't be no issue, but it's just time. That's where we're at. That's where we're at. CDG's done closed out. I guess it's not really y'all, but they started the sewer construction base to it. Yeah, I think how they form training. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you. Thank you so much.
You were talking about, John, talking about that meeting we had?
Yeah.
Yeah, we talking about now, because you were there.
Yeah, was it yesterday? Yesterday, yeah, it seems like that. So anyway, yesterday we, me, Mayor, Tommy, Evan, we all attended the regional water gathering meeting, or whatever you want to call it. I guess it wasn't really the name for the meeting, but we all got together, mayors and some of the other people from several counties got together to discuss becoming a regional water source and their concerns. And a lot of good information was shared, a lot of questions were asked, a lot of legitimate questions were asked on you know, what their concerns would be, you know, who would fund what, who would man what, and a lot of questions needed to be answered. But I don't know that we've got a whole lot done, but we've got a lot of questions on the table. I think, in my opinion, that it's probably going to be up to us to try to push to answer a lot of these questions that they had, because mainly we're closest to the water, and everybody would be pulling water from us. The main questions, I think, maybe you can correct me, that they had was if we could, how far can we pump clean water? Was one of the main questions, and I thought was legitimate. Who was going to man this facility, and it would be, and the liability that each of the other counties would obtain, because it would be a second water source for them. So it almost would be kind of a burden. If I'm explaining it, that's the way I understood some of the mayors were talking. What were some of the other questions that?
There was discussion about instead of hooking onto our lines and getting our treatment water, running a new line down and just pulling raw water out of the river.
Right.
There was discussion on that. And then there was discussion on the Corps of Engineers has money under a fund called 219 that you can go together as a region and get some funds, and it'll help pay for construction and those kind of things, but you have to get put in the budget in Congress. So Congressman Rose, there were some questions asked there about how did you have to have some kind of formal agreement? Is it just a letter, or how's that have to be done? And Ray Render from Congressman Rose's office is checking into that with the Corps of Engineers to see how we would need to go about doing it as a region. They did have a project, what, a couple of years ago? It was right before Lamar Alexander was going out.
Lamar Alexander, I think it's Giles County.
I think
forget
it's
what
3
project.
counties total.
It's several counties together. They have pulled together funding through that, get it approved through Congress. But when it got approved, it funded, I think it's 75, 25% on the construction. There's other things that it's 50-50. But it's quite substantial money for the project, where it was come together as a region. They want to help fund those kind of projects.
Everybody gets to draw from the 75.
Everybody is.
So not just y'all. Whoever's in the region to do projects.
Yeah, you do the projects you need to do.
So those discussions, and they're getting a little bit more information. But the concerns mainly for if they were hooking onto our lines, the concerns from Westmoreland and Portland. Portland would be a supplementary water source, but right now they're getting water through White House, I believe.
Right, yes.
And I think Westmoreland's getting it from Gallatin, so it'd be a secondary source for them. And the question was, by the time our water gets to them, you know, it's gonna be not contaminated, but you're gonna have some, I guess, bacteria growth and that stuff.
Yeah, that's
Because of
what
the age of the
that's what-
water.
That was the major issue with Macon too, because last time I think everyone looked in too, I think when was the last drought that we've had, that we looked in, we had to pump water for 07, 08, we'd had to pump water to clean the line out for a significant amount of time, so. And then there was also worried about rates, having a compatible rate after buying water from us, so.
Did they seem like they wanted to do it or
They-
not?
They were open to having more future discussions. This was a first meeting that was put together by Ray Render from Congressman Rose's office, because his office got a lot of calls about, once the Corps took off the moratorium, how do we get the water? TDEC is really pushing this regional water distribution
They set
scheme.
the permit.
Yeah, and you gotta get permitted through them, and TDEC's feedback so far is we're not gonna let 5 different people try to run a line down the river. It'd be better if you just hook on to one. So there was initial discussion about their concerns, what are we looking at as far as our needs are? Just getting that out there, making the contacts with the people involved, and then asking questions of Congressman Rose's office that they're looking answers to, so. If we go somewhere, this is the beginning of a very long process, but I do think it was a good initial meeting, seeing all the players involved and getting everybody's concerns and everything off that. We talked about our ability, and I think, Evan, it's 5 to 5.5 million gallons that we can draw as far as the pipe itself into the river. That our water plant can only do about 2 million. We were looking at having to build a plant in the future dealing with TDEC. But we would need to know if we're gonna supply all these other people, that plays into what size plant you need to be built, and there's a lot of things that play into it. So we told them our concerns, they told us their concerns, so I think it was a really good first meeting. They were open to continuing discussions, but nothing's really resolved so far.
Most of them more apt to do with raw water. Just
I was
because.
gonna say, is that done? Is that allowed? I've never heard.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it can
Really? Well, I mean, it would take care of the issue of stale water. I mean, if you're gonna pump down river water, let it treat, would we have to pre-treat it at all?
You treat
You share intake.
So that's allowed.
So you share the intake, you would pump it to the point, and they would boost it on. So those boosters can technically be theirs, and then everybody can share the expense of what it costs to transmit.
So we're selling them untreated river water.
You'll be selling, it will be a shared cost.
Shared cost.
So what would the advantage to us be for that?
You get a bigger intake, with them having to pay for it.
I thought we had.
You do.
Way bigger than.
Well, its max can do 5.5 million.
Okay, right now, our intake will do 5.5 and we're pulling 2. Okay. And we're wanting to expand, so how much even are we gonna have available for them to use?
That's
A million, a million and a half.
Either way you go, if you do a regional concept, you're going to increase the size of the.
So if we do the regional, we're not gonna use the 5.5, we're gonna up it. So
We'll have to build a
10,
new one.
20,
Yeah, that's.
That's what we gotta figure out, what everybody's,
Needs on.
50-year plan is.
you don't think they're gonna limit us on there, or are they gonna be open to whatever the regional
If you can
group
get,
wants to do?
I feel like if you get a bunch of people to agree, they'll be up for it.
Okay.
But
This
that's
is
what they
TDEC
want.
idea.
They really don't care about y'all selling treated water. Their concern is the environmental impact on.
I'll
So
pull
if
it
they can get
right.
everybody to come to one spot and pool, then that satisfies that big time. So
So there.
they like the idea, they just don't know how to get the idea.
Are they gonna be comfortable
Feasible.
pulling that much out of the river, not out of the lake? I mean, if we were in the old Hickory, impoundment,
Well, there'll be a number.
okay, but I mean, would that not affect that number? Would it be easier to get it, pulling it out of old Hickory impoundment than out of the river itself? In large
Well,
volume.
their point is everybody will ask for it down the road if they say no anyway. So they'd rather be in one spot or a couple. They're against, y'all having one, if Fed having one, Swan having one, Portland having one. Cass State, so they're looking at about 6 or 7 reason in that meeting.
Yeah, it's just mainly the government's, no, there wasn't no districts there.
But I'm saying the regional meeting was like 7 entities maybe that was looking.
Well, I know Castile, they're looking for water source to have their own treatment plant. I don't know how many exactly was there. I think it's at least 4 or 5.
Well, yeah, yesterday, but I'm saying at the first meeting,
About the online
There's
Zoom
like, yeah,
meeting.
what are like 7
Oh, yeah.
Red Bowling, but they didn't show,
They
so I
didn't
mean,
show.
there's a lot, so that's one of the
Lafayette, Red Bull, and a lot of these could be, they could get raw water, Lafayette still sell water at Red Bull,
yeah.
technically.
But how, if we don't do this, what are their options?
Some of what I've heard was them reusing water.
Sewer,
Reusing
Portland's
sewer.
gonna do a reuse plant.
retreat.
That's what Portland was looking
They're
at,
too
really
far,
tough.
you know.
Portland was originally looking at building their own lake to pull out of. However, I think they've been working on that
50 years,
50 years.
Yeah.
And they've come to the conclusion this year that that is dead.
and they're gonna sell the land.
Yeah, it's 100. So that's kind of what brought this about. I was suggesting a T-deck. Ford was willing to listen to it. T-deck's really pushing one intake, feeding a bunch of people, not running 5 or 6 different lines down to the river.
Can I see this?
So is this TDEC planners pursuing their options, and this is one of their many options, is that what or you think this is, you think?
It's the
you think
program office.
Gotcha.
They've had this for a long time, this ain't nothing new, they really want to reach it. Concept.
So this has been.
But like I said, when you talk to them, say, okay, how do we do it, then they don't understand the logistics of it. It sounds good, but you know, you can't pump water from here to Portland and still use it very easily.
So far, it seems to be T-deck wants this and we figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, that's really what we're getting.
Historically, are there any rural grants for eligibility for something like this that might be?
Into that, down that road.
But the point is, they're trying to get together for the 75-25.
I was just wondering. if
They
there's
won't
any
get that
rural-
Congress money if we get together, they get all that
To these projects.
to build a big project.
Didn't know if you could pull Fed, state, and local.
Oh, yeah, you'll get it.
Okay. That's what I was.
If you get something to 19. You know,
Go and ask for state.
they like
Try.
adding on to them.
With multiple options, you might have a better chance with multiple group being the regionals.
Does meet your criteria, and you're gonna have more requirements and expectations of
Oh,
the state
absolutely. Well, no, I was
to be
better.
eligible for that. But that might work really well with this plan we're supposed to pull together for our future.
If you want to pump, or treat the water and pump it to them, we need to know what technology to put in to be the best, cleanest drinking water we can supply, to make it that long a distance out as far as you can. You can booster station, chlorine stations, and keep that water adjusted as it goes, and that's gonna be, somebody gotta watch all that.
Distance, the size of the line.
Size of the line.
They're talking about using it as backup, not as a primary, so. You're gonna have to flush it all out before you even,
A lot of them have to do that now, they're buying water, they're having to flush it just to get to meet requirements.
So what I'm hearing is the regional opportunity would force us to replace what we already have with 5 million.
Yes, it will force us to replace the
If you
intake.
have enough people. But right now, you're only looking at million two, which are probably freaking.
Yeah.
And everybody up there wants a supplemental source, so that's not gonna be their primary. So you're getting a quarter maybe of their demands or something like that.
If we do raw
For
water,
some-
you know what I'm saying? If we do raw water, we got to put all this infrastructure in.
New line, that'd be from here all the way to Port.
I just don't see how this benefits us.
If we're not selling water, I don't see it.
It's not, if we're not selling.
It's really not.
I'm trying not to overlook something.
Yeah.
I think
Okay,
Because your intake will do enough to take care of y'all.
for a long time, if we can get the permit.
Yeah, but I'll get this.
That's basically. I think they assured us if, we weren't messing with that impact,
It's a lot easier.
that we would be able to probably increase.
Yes.
I think it would help us if we were selling water, of course.
Yeah, that would be good.
That'd be different, but as far as the raw water,
I just, I don't know. I gotta sleep on this.
It's
What's
moving
that
slow.
say, funding would be?
2022, when it's open, it's back up to
They said that right?
2023.
Right?
I thought 2023, people are already on the list for 2023, so we'd be the next.
It was one
Next,
time.
next
So
group after
typically
that.
you'll go in for development and plans and then
The
do they
plan-
phase it out?
The engineer was 50-50.
So it's 75, 25.
75-25 on the construction. But the problem, you didn't have to have, it didn't have to be one big project. So let's say Westmoreland wanted to put up, main down towards 231, well, they could do that. If y'all wanted to put one from here to I mean, you can break it up as long as it was, the overall concept was to get water to other communities out, you can do those projects.
It's kind of becomes a pot of money you can draw from, create projects in whatever areas are designated by Congress to get that money.
From an overall benefit, I guess.
And you got a 5-year window to get it out.
Is that right? Well, we're constructed, yeah, it's constructed.
Well, it's not that I don't want to be a good neighbor to the communities around that obviously need this, but I just, somebody's gonna have to sell me on the idea when we really have no benefit from.
I'm not gonna make a profit out of it, I just, sorry about your luck not having ribbons on it. Like they already all have primary sources, I mean, like you said, this would just be secondary to them. It could be a rude one in the group, but yeah, it's profit.
If we went into the development of our master plan, which but I think the commission even had to vote, the city council, sorry, wrong word, city council, county commission, I get it right now, city council, county commission. No disrespect, sir, I work for the city of Lebanon. If we were to go back to that master plan and touch with that and see if that might find some other benefit, or if that it would give us the funding to do the master plan, I think that I might see an ounce more support for it, but I think we need to go back to our master plan and develop our master plan first. So I think we need to do before we commit to something like this.
There's actually two different regional things that were discussed. One regional was just everybody getting together and trying to get that 219 pot of money that you could do, like Evan said, you could use it to do a water line over here, over there. It's not specific to this regional water distribution. It's something completely different from that pot of money. So that was that discussion. And then the other discussion was either us selling water or doing the raw line as to a regional distribution. That's what TDEC was pressing. And then the Corps brought up this 219 money because they want to get projects submitted. So they brought up the 219. So there's actually two different regional discussions. The 219 could benefit us because that's a pot of money that we would get sitting there and we could all draw from it. It's us, Portland, Westmoreland, to do individual projects. So that would benefit us. That I think we seriously need to take a look at, because that Corps was very, very pushing that, and almost every meeting we've had, they talked about that 219 money. This other one, yeah, if it's raw water, I told them, if it's raw, how do you do that? Who's gonna pay for it? Who's gonna maintain it? Who's gonna do all that? And nobody had answers because this is the first time we've ever had a meeting on it. So I think that's in very, very early stages of discussion. My thought going forward, or my feeling going forward with some of the mayors is they're more looking toward right now and immediacy is the 219, trying to get those answers and get that in front of Congress because it's gonna be a couple of years. But the other one, there's gonna be a whole lot more discussion on, and that probably gonna involve TDEC, and since it was their idea. So like I said, there were two different regional concepts there.
Okay. That's fair.
And as far as
Because I was thinking it
219,
was just the one thing.
no,
So,
and on
okay.
the 219, Congressman Rhodes' office is reaching out to whoever they have the Corps to see how, do we need to have an intergovernmental agreement? Do we just need to have the mayor sign that? How do we need to, show that there is a regional, I guess, a regional request for this money? I think that's what they're working on right now.
They didn't even know how to set up a board or anything.
Right, and that, because the people that did it last time was Senator Alexander's office handled it all last time, and they're all gone. So right now they're trying to see how they need to go about doing that. So they reaching out to people at the Corps to see what it is we need to get together, or how we need to do it.
I absolutely see how it can benefit them. I still don't see how it benefits us other than what you just said, and I get that. But if I could even see, I have to kind of echo Mark, if I could see, 5 years from now, 20 years from now, that this is going to benefit us, then even, I might feel a little bit better about it.
And I think a master plan would give us that
Yeah,
idea too. I think,
you're
I
on the
think,
right key with that.
I think a master plan would definitely tell us where we're going, what the dream is, what the reality is, and then.
And it's not enough water to pay for it.
And, yeah,
Are we missing something here? Have we,
No, it's gonna come down to T-Deck, or they're gonna, is the raw water gonna be okay, or the general treatment,
gotcha.
so.
And T-Deck was not at the meeting, it was mainly mayors, the Cannon mayors, city mayors, and then people that run the water departments. Those kind of, we were at the meeting with Ray Render from Congressman Rose's office, just kind of say, okay, here's what T-Deck wanted us to talk about, what are the issues involved, and then trying to get feedback from mainly T-Deck, because that's who you're dealing with.
Well, I
I
want,
think I don't think they're concerned about, they're concerned about rates, right?
Right.
I mean, that's the bottom line. If y'all sell it to them for X amount of dollars, then let's say it's more than what they actually charge customers right now, and their big increase on all of it. Plus,
so they really have an increase or like that.
well, I'm not. Plus, they're going to put the infrastructure to get there and keep the chlorine. So they're going to put in pumps, chemical feeds, maybe tanks with mixtures, it can be done, it's just the infrastructure is going to be.
How feasible is it? to do
That's what I'm
that?
getting at.
Yeah.
The feasibility is one thing. That's what I'm saying, it sounds good to T-Deck, for the concept, but the feasibility of it's.
Yeah.
And you gotta be within compliance, so that's what Thomas talking about. You can't just start feeding chlorine and not,
Oh,
be testing, and there's things that you're gonna have people to check.
well, I want to say, I really appreciate y'all taking time to go to this and, whether it ever goes anywhere, at least we were at the table.
Right.
And, trying to understand this. And appreciate y'all taking time to do it and letting us know about it.
We'll keep our eye on it, see what happens.
I think we've been over that first time. Mostly sign during all our replacing hydrants and leaks we've had, we have two connections that would help this whole northwest side of the system, because when we had one bad leak that it drains everybody's water out your way back to town. But we only have one straw going your way. And there's a whole town, that 12-inch line that runs around from the tank to tank. We tap into that and tie it on Hall Town to this hydrant right here, which is a 6. Now, I don't know if it needs to be a 12, but I estimated it was a 12-inch line, about 1,300 feet, would tie that together. And that would keep a second tie-in around it, would keep these folks in water when we have something bad happen in town. And that leak could hold a branch, cause everybody out here to go out of water. Just like that, another tie-in would help that. And then there's a tie-in that can be done, that wasn't done before in the past, but if you go through Thoroughbred, y'all always running out of water over there. But there is like a 300-foot section that can be tied into that same 141 north. And that would beef up even more flow that way, and that might end some of these flow issues we have, help beef all that up. And it help all that community out that way.
What do you think an estimate of the cost of doing each one of these?
I think the small one probably no more than $60,000, but I can get everyone to look at too.
Is that include the boring?
Yes.
Okay.
So we'll do most of the work ourselves on that. This one up here may have to be trenched. I have to pay Mr. Kemp to do a board on that one, on the Highway 141. But we can try to dig this one, but I'm sure it's gonna be some rock in it on all time.
But you're
Ain't a
also
right one out there. I could swear.
We'll dig it then.
It's now, is it gonna have to be bored going to the highway too, under Halltown Road?
No, I just, that's a 10, that just shows how it connects. It can go on the opposite side of the road too, either way.
But I'm saying, it's on one side here and the other side here. They're not both on the same side of the road.
Maybe
That's
not. My question to you, it could go on either side. I just drew a concept to show y'all.
Where is the water?
It's-
Which side of the road here?
It's on both sides.
It's over
across.
here and here?
Yeah, it's on both sides.
Okay, so you could go down this side.
I'm not sure where all the utilities are yet, so I just give you a
Okay.
concept.
Well,
to show.
The way you had it drawn, you had it going up the road.
Yeah, that's two crossings. If we stay on the opposite side of this, there'd be no crossing.
That was my point.
Yes. It just,
Okay.
not knowing where if the gas is down through there, I'm not sure. I did a call Dave to get those marked
Up to
today. To find out.
Looked like that would substantially make a difference in cost.
Yeah, one of the reasons I did that side is you may have some tree removal and stuff on the opposite side. It's just a clear path.
It is a good thing.
That's the only reason I use that sign, but it may be advantageous to jump the other side.
I was thinking, yes,
I guess maybe about 150,000-60,000. If you do a 12-inch line now, that's why I was gonna see if he would look at that, see if it needed to be, just for that time, and it could be smaller.
I'm thinking that's worst case scenario.
Yes. But that's a 12-inch line and that costs. That's just running another 1,300 foot to it. I hate to go low and say, I like to make them.
Are these 12s?
No, that's a 6 on that hydrant right there. But
This
that
is a
is,
6, and this is a
that's
12.
that 12 that loops
Okay.
around. Yeah. I'd rather do the 12 first one, but he can look at the hydraulics and see if it can.
Well, also the staleness of water, if you're not running, but moving much water through it, through a larger line, you gotta look at that issue too. Don't want to oversize it because of that.
That short distance won't hurt.
Look at it that much.
If it's a long distance, yes, we'd have to really consider that.
I'd rather have it not needed than need it not have.
And that's what I was telling, we was talking earlier about the bore under Highway 141. We'll go ahead and make it a 2-foot bore. We can put any size pipe in it, but in the future, if you don't have to bore it again, you could go up to 12 at least.
That's come money twice.
I don't like to either. I like to go ahead and fix it.
Oh,
Or you can expand it first.
So one more time, Tommy, for me, on this Halltown Road, what does it help?
Well, we've been fixing hydrants, having to shut stuff down or leaks. It puts these folks out here, out 141 north, out toward Gravel Hill, toward Templo, out toward Green Grove. All those areas, they start running, our actually starts getting everybody's dead end because the water starts sucking back this way.
Okay.
You know,
Just one line you think will fix that.
it'll help, I think. Now, Evan can look at it and tell y'all more if y'all want to let them look at it. We have a 141 connection, but it's a 6 feeding all that. It's showed 8 to 6 to 8. And that one, we talked about laying a 12-inch line around Roger Street, coming down and going on Highway 25 and get rid of all that too, 141 north. And getting that choke point out of that there, that'll help flow out that way too. But this will be something that in the midterm, a short enough project to help keep that area in water when we have problems. But right now, we have to have valves, certain valves shut off. And this where he lives, it's fed off. Gravel Hill feeds the area up there we pump to. Halltown feeds that area. And some of the stuff College feeds that area, but everything's valved off. One of these days, we get enough connections. That may have to stop where you don't have to have all these valves isolated. We're having to do that just to keep people in water, because you got these small lines feeding it.
So this is giving us redundancy where we don't have it
You
for
don't
a
have-
very short distance.
Yeah, for regression. And it helps a lot of people too, helps a lot of areas.
But you're saying both of them together probably cost $100,000.
Together, probably about 200.
Yeah.
And he thought he's done it there too, he's might be looking at. Every estimated
What was that?
1,300 feet, about 350.
And road. Road.
And a road board in it.
Provide the road, pitch, pitch.
That is
It's state highway.
60, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 60, right?
Be 18,000 for the road. bill. About 10, 5. 28, 5, about 30.
Small.
The road board, chill.
Yeah,
It's about $300 a foot.
we actually.
It may only be 40-foot right away there, that
I think. it's
narrows
for-
and widens a foot there.
We need to be boards, roads.
Yeah, I think it's 40.
That's what show.
Might be 40. If
That-
that falls off on that side, so it's gonna be easy for them to, they're not gonna have to do this, they can probably go straight through it on that lower side.
So you think it's shorter, will be about 30?
Yeah. Or less. Is it Ross or is it not Ross?
It's Charles County.
That's right.
That's, I put Ross.
Guarantee
I
it's
put
Ross.
Ross.
That, on that
We
bottom.
So that does include, that does, so this one right here servicing the thoroughbred.
It'll fix it, but it's.
Okay.
The thoroughbred comes around to the top and comes down that hill.
I think that photo shows it. There's a concrete driveway, we'll probably have to go on the two on that same.
There's a new house there
New
that's
house.
been built.
It's probably about 20. Yeah, me and Kim, which Kim went down with, I just already.
As close as that is, see how we cannot do that, I'm not sure.
We'll hit that.
And this, I can see with the tank here, how that definitely would help tremendously.
A number of customers we talked about, I'd be. I'd definitely.
We learned that this right here might help from the work we've been doing in town, how it affects everybody.
Yeah.
We learned this might help stop some of them. If we ever do future work or have issues, they'll have more access to flow their way, you know.
Can we get some firm costs on it?
Yes.
Before we know, vote to do it, I mean,
Decide tonight.
I'd like to vote to, pursue it for sure.
Pull some numbers.
All right, we'll keep that on the agenda for next month. We'll get some
Do
prices.
you need us to vote?
No, it's not on
Okay.
rush.
Okay.
It's just, doing our work in town and some of the leaks we've had, then those two connections are gonna.
I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer, both of them, but let's get some
Yes.
thought.
I had a drawing, I don't know if y'all got it. It shows them. Do you got one? Well, there's a, was talking about the use of that line back there. What could it be done for, what we've used it for?
Cost breakdown too.
Yeah, we had a cost breakdown under discussion, we're gonna get off of the fish, y'all see what the cost was versus cost of the project. Is in there as well. So if there's everything like, there's like 5 or 6 houses from here over down to a certain point. If anything ever happened, this line of highway out here, you can put all them houses on that line back here. And move them over and not have to rehab this line in the road, make it state highway, because it's expensive to fix pavement back to state highway. You can let this around up here and come back and hit it where it can run off. We got some up here at the Piggly Wiggly, they have trouble because their building is lower than the sewer line on 8th Street. And they constantly having to be cleaned out and fixed, and we fixed it once and gave it the least grade we could get it. We redone their whole service. We cut the road and everything, and we put it at the minimal grade it could be. And it's still lower, they're still lower than that right there. And that's the best we can do, for them. But they're too low than the line on Main Street, they can't grade it to. They could, in this, they could get fixed and run down this way. Fix some of the problems, You could probably tie it into, somehow, maybe get to tie it into Hay Street as well, make another loop around town. if you ever do future projects, you can isolate that side, you'll dig that line up through there, without a lot of sewage coming in. We're gonna have to do it one day. But that's just thoughts of the stuff that we have done can be added on to and utilized for future. This line definitely can give another route through town that would eliminate a lot of fixing in the state highway. But we got another sewer line on the backside of them homes across the way. And they can all be took back on that line back there behind us. So we would eliminate a lot of costs to the utility in the county for fixing the highway. Because everything in the county here about in the center. Hey, but
Those homes you're talking about, is there sewer lines, just like this building, not coming out the front? They would have to all be relocated to.
if you ever had to relocate them instead of rehabbing in the state highway where they're hooked to now, you could hook them
Would
all.
they be responsible for doing that, or would that homeowner be responsible?
No, those projects there would be on this.
Okay.
It's-
Where you got this line drawn here, there's a building sitting there. And there's gonna be a building sitting there.
Well, that's not an exact drawing.
Okay, but my question was, are we gonna be able to access all this from the county owned property coming down through there, so we don't get over on these other properties?
We try to run it down the property line like we do everywhere else.
Okay, so
I
it's
just did a,
basically on the property,
based on the property
Okay.
lines.
would be where we would shoot for, which should be 20 foot between buildings at the closest.
Mhm.
So that's plenty of room to come in there and do that.
We only need a 20-foot right of way to access the lines. It should be plenty. That's how we did this Planter Street. We just followed all the base of everybody's property line and stayed, nowhere we wouldn't impede their land in any way. We just stayed right on the property line with the line. So we weren't taking up any use of their property. No more we had to. This man's doing these 24 apartments, him, America, we're in us and the Barrett Brothers, that's about 27 cousins. They'll get charged 24 minimum bills plus their usage.
24 apartments.
Going right back here. Houses or whatever they are.
Townhome.
Townhomes,
Townhome.
they're all stacked tight.
That's the max.
They go up.
They
Kind of
go up.
standard go up.
Two-story.
Tall schemes.
And that gentleman paid the difference to lay this last leg of line deeper, because he had to be 6, I think it was. We had it was already about 5 or 6 foot deep, and he had to go 11 or 12.
I've heard that said before, when he paid that, who determined what he paid and where did it go? Because that breakdown you gave us,
He hadn't paid yet, he didn't pay, when he paid his fees,
okay, how much will that be?
$6,000.
That's all.
That's the only difference between the depth he had. We've already had to put the pipe in and all the material, he just has to dig it deeper. And the grades all that changed, so he
I
paid
mean,
the difference. in
I
grade.
know we did that, but did we have to do that? I mean, just for our building, couldn't we run our building?
That's what I'm saying, we didn't have to, but when he came into play, he couldn't get there no other way except for the pump system.
I'm talking about that line in its entirety. Did we have to do that?
Well, one reason we chose to do it that way was to help these businesses figure it out. It was to help, it's gonna help us and help them as well. Cause they didn't have access to sewer.
There wasn't access down.
There wasn't none
White
on the
Oak?
planners. There's that, yeah, on White Oak.
So it could have been run down White Oak.
It is
Instead of
down. It's run down the water.
I know this line runs down White Oak.
Okay.
But I'm saying, why did we have to take it from all the way up here and pay Kemp $90,000 basically for us, and hopefully this, if they build it, I can see that. But I think if they're dependent on that, they should be paying more than $6,000.
Already constructed. All the difference was.
Why were we constructing? Why were we constructing it? Was that our only option to get sewer to this new building?
You could put a pump system.
Okay, I mean, how is the sewer coming out of this courthouse building?
It goes on this back.
So
behind the
is it
store.
going over to this line where you're showing it over here? So it come, where does it go?
It probably goes out here on this back road between the store and this market.
Okay, which is where you're talking about here. Here, okay. Okay, so our new building, we couldn't have just come down beside the trees and tied on the Broadway and not spent $190,000.
It's been quite a bit in the state highway.
Just asking,
Yeah. I mean, it would have been quite a bit. in the state highway.
would have been $190,000. Well, I mean, grinder pump and a 4-inch line to pump out of our building is $10,000. I don't know about the connection on the state highway, but
It's 90,000.
well, you gave us a spreadsheet that said we spent $190,000 or
That
whatever.
was different things to get here. This was only to get to the building to make it full sewer.
You had a $90,000 charge to Kent Brothers.
Yes.
Did we pay Kent Brothers $90,000 just
To
to
dig and set manholes and do the.
Okay, so that was the setting of the manholes, they did all that, and,
We helped lay the line, help some of
okay,
them.
I'm only asking because I'm getting a lot of questions on it, and I'm trying to understand what happened and when it happened and why.
One of the reasons why we come this route is it was gonna help local businesses out too, that didn't have access. By helping do that, and to tie it in and making another route through town.
Okay, I see if we take it on up to this, I
Yes,
absolutely see the thinking on that.
Mhm.
I just don't think before today that this has ever been discussed. Maybe I missed it.
Well, we started to.
Did we discuss this, part of this before?
We discussed, my recollection, we discussed running the line, and we discussed how it would help future businesses. I don't remember any discussion about alternate routes. But I think that's why we went ahead and constructed the line so soon, because it was gonna help those other businesses. It was gonna help those other businesses, and we were gonna have to do it anyway.
Which other businesses did that? Maricola and,
It's in that, I don't know if you can make that
Who else? Almost not like that.
Maricopa,
Maricola
Carla.
Garrett Brothers.
what was Garrett Brothers on before we did that?
Nothing,
Nothing.
nothing.
So this was their access.
This is our
Okay.
access.
But now we're also
Also-
eligible for other businesses and these 24 apartments.
Maricopa
correct?
was still technically illegally hooked up to just a tank. They didn't have fuel. It went into the creek.
Okay, so this is improving the services within this area by going this route and making it accessible for 24 new apartments or townhouses that are about to be built.
And we didn't know that about Maricopa's line until we got to digging and found it run off to a box. And that was it. It didn't have no fuel. We didn't learn that till we was doing it, but they did end up having an issue.
So you're at 24 to 5. You have two commercial, you now have two commercial accounts pulling sewer and water off. Not to mention, you're gonna also access 24 apartments by this new line of $90,000. Commercial lines aren't cheap. It is a commercial, those two are commercial lines.
We don't have the distinction of commercials.
Okay.
You know, it's all residential. Everybody gets charged residential rate. We don't have a distinction between commercial or industrial.
It's the
We ought to do that
residential.
sometimes.
Or-
But we don't have that distinction in the charges. like that.
But you do have at least 26 new eligibility of at least 26 new customers off of this $90,000 investment. Correct? And improving
The other
the
issue,
sewer.
you know, we couldn't get the,
That was
we
fine.
couldn't get the land. We wanted to buy an acre of land back here, but the gentleman didn't want to part with it. The former gentleman didn't want to part with it. That was paying him $20,000 in it right away. The one that owned it before America. That's what took so long to get through here with an easement. The new owner was willing to do it. And he needed sewer, so he was willing to do it. He needed sewer for his business. He couldn't have it for that.
Let me ask just one question, and I'm not trying to be arguing, please, I'm really not, I'm trying to understand. If we were not putting a building back there, would we have put that line? Okay, if we did put it up there for the 24 proposed townhomes, would we have footed that entire bill, or would they have paid for that, or paid part of that? I mean, typically,
Yeah.
I mean, if we're out here digging out in Acorn Trail, did they pay for that, or we paid for that?
They pay for the turnover.
Okay, why would they not be expected to pay for that or pay for it? I guess is where I'm coming from.
Well, because we were constructing it. They come in after the fact too. It wasn't, that was a later concept of putting that over there. They asked to be added to that.
So in hindsight, we probably should have charged them more, correct? So
The only thing that I charged them for was the deeper cost to lay that deeper.
I mean, that's where you're going with.
Yeah, I feel like that there are going to be people that feel like we ran this line for these 24 apartments and they didn't have to pay for them when other people are. That's exactly what.
No, I see what you're saying, but then again, too,
Yeah.
Apartments
they
came
did.
after the line was
They
done.
did.
Well, I don't see that this $90,000 investment on a county building for the water department is detrimental because it's been done, especially since we now reap the reward of at least 26 customers over here from this investment.
I agree.
I see both sides. I see why you were doing the kind gesture, and I completely see why you're stating that, you know, maybe we need to, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I see your point on your conversation. But I'm gonna put a third conversation in, and you have 26 new customers helping support pay back that $90,000. And 2 of them are commercial. Typically, commercial uses a whole lot more than the residential. In my walk, So-
Me too, but we don't have 24. We really have no assurances of 24, other than they've been approved to build them. There's no building permits been issued for them. And I'm not opposed. I think it was a good move to have that back there. I think it's needed for what we're trying to do right here with this. But I'm just saying, from a standpoint of the questions from the public, we have come in here, we're always talking about this, the payback per customer, blah, blah, blah. It's justification not to do things, and we're making developers pay for these things in their developments. And all of a sudden, we have put this line in that these people are going to greatly benefit from. I'm not saying we're not, I'm not saying AmeriColor, I know they are, and we cleaned up some messes by doing that. I get that. But a 4-inch line run down the hill would have took care of our building, or a 6-inch line at best.
We don't have nothing but it.
I'm just saying, I don't
Well, you
know.
have to upkeep that pump station.
I get what you're saying, but I mean, people too, especially the Minute Mark crew that knows everything. They gotta understand, America got lucky, Garrett Brothers got lucky. I mean, it was just right place, right time kind of situation. You know, and I was gonna wait until board member comments to bring it up, and like Bill brought up at the commission meeting the other night, there are areas in this county that don't have access to water. In 2021, that is a travesty. That should not be. And I feel like we as a board need to look at any angle, any option, anything, grants, whatever, dig under every rock that we can to try to make sure that everybody in Travis County has water available. We're a small enough county that I feel like we can do that. And then 2, if we do that, or if we're at least making that effort, then I think people won't be so butthurt over $1.2 million back here. Now, as far as that goes, man, they're gonna squall if we spent $20,000 back here. They're gonna throw a fit like it's coming straight out of their pocket. Cause they ain't got sense enough to know that the water department's not taking any of their tax dollars. And if you ain't paying the water bill, heck, it ain't your money anyway that they're spending. But I do feel like he's right. There shouldn't be not one area in this county that doesn't have water, but I get why the state said, no, you can't spend $2 million running that water line for 6 customers. I understand that. I can do simple math, but our job as a board, I feel like, to figure out a way to make that happen. And to work more closely with the commission. Instead of having a peeing contest over who's got more power, work together, be a more cohesive unit, cooperate with one another to make these things happen, make everything better for Crawford County. And I feel like there's enough intelligent people here and there to do these things.
Well, we have tried to find grant money, it's through the community development block grant, and it's all based on population density, and we looked at all the projects, and our grant writer said, you're not gonna get anything. So there was no money there. The 219 fund, that's something we didn't know about, talking to Corps of Engineers, that could be used for these projects. Whatever's gonna come out of this infrastructure bill that keeps floating around, and everybody keeps telling us, wait, what you do with your American Rescue funds, it says water and sewer, see what this infrastructure bill does. It might be able to use for these new lines, it may have to be to replace your existing infrastructure. I know if it's up to the comptroller, he wants to replace your existing lines that have been in the ground for 60 to 70 years. So I don't know where all these things are going. We have tried to find the money, and it's based on population density.
And I did not mean to insinuate.
No, I
Have
don't
it.
mean to seem like I'm being,
But like that, then we know that maybe there's a glimmer of hope there. Then I feel like that's our purpose. That's why we're here. And if we can tell people, hey, look, can't make any promises, but maybe in 100 years you might have a water line that Uncle Sam's gonna pay for. I mean, I'm making light, but I do feel like we need to at least show the public that there is an effort. We're not just sitting in here with a chest full of cash figuring out how we can blow it. Because I think that may be the perception that they have, but that's not the case. I feel like we're all trying to be good stewards of the utilities resources,
Absolutely.
but the public does have an opinion, however unfortunate it may be, and we do have to deal with it. Y'all do. Most people don't even know I want the water. I want to keep it.
Did we do an analysis like this on this?
No, it's just, that was what the plan was to get sewer in there.
Well, I mean, I understand what you did with this, but I'm saying, did we do this on this other line?
No, that's not first.
Pardon?
Not starting that.
Hey.
Brothers first.
Okay,
We went to Garrett.
We went to Garrett Brothers first.
Okay.
That's how it started.
Yeah, we did one phase.
but I'm just saying, some of the customers you're talking about, that this is gonna serve, your analysis would include these homes down through here. It would cover them too, would it not?
If they ever need to be.
Okay, so that's the kind of information I need to answer some of these.
We may not have, the part where that drawing y'all have there, the employees, when we did this, that was our thought, we could always come around and loop
Okay,
this stuff.
okay.
And it become very useful to
I can see where
upgrade
it would make,
Hay Street,
make a
upgrade
big
driveways. It would help, you know.
okay, I can see where it makes a tremendous difference. I think that's a good thing. I'll actually say, I think that's a good thing. I just need to understand, try to be able to. Y'all may never get anybody to question you. I'm sorry, I may be the only one that ever gets questions, but I want to try to answer people's questions. I get in trouble for answering people's questions, but I try to answer people's questions.
I want to go back on something Dwight said. Did we run lines on their property, on the Gambles property?
No.
So they're gonna have to put in their lines in the ground. and
They have to
hook
build
up.
their stuff to ours, yeah.
Same way if somebody did build a subdivision and hooked up to the sewer line running by the
Same
road.
way, they have to hook to this.
But you got commercial, so
Right, you got,
from a standpoint of a utility, usually if you're picking up commercial, the utility will run that line because you're getting a greater payback from those. So like fast track, other grants, usually you'll run it, usually those people don't. Now, single family homes is different. See, these townhomes are really like a commercial.
If you're getting benefit from commercial other than just the rate.
Yeah, that's why.
You're getting
that's why
jobs,
you
you're
usually
getting
don't see nobody-
payroll, you're getting things of that nature. So that don't play in necessarily with the home. Or you're getting home.
Economic impact.
Right.
Yeah, most people don't run residential. That's why the subdivision developers develop their own. But if it's commercial property, usually the utility always, if it's feasible, will run it too. And pay for it, because they know they're gonna get their money back. So
Makes sense.
that's
Do
typical.
they ever rent to residential?
Residential, most of the time not, just because it's usually on the developer. Now, if it's gonna be like apartments or something, because it's, your density is greater, it's considered commercial. Or pumps, a lot of times if they get out of a pump, the utilities try to fix them some gravity. Nobody, depends on who takes the pump over. Different. Most of your utilities anymore are saying we're done with pumps. They're trying to put it off on somebody else that says they're not there.
I remember correctly, there was an issue here with these townhomes gonna be built, that it was lower than the Hay Street line, is that right?
Yes.
So they would have to put in a pump or something to get it over there.
Correct.
Was that something they were willing to do? I just don't know, was, did having this line here, the option of this line, increase the likelihood that these townhomes are gonna be built versus putting in that pumping system?
Yes.
Yeah, they'd had to put in a pump, but they'd had maintenance to take care of forever.
And it would have been big for that many.
Right, for 2024, I guess, I can't remember, 21,
I believe it's
24.
24, my drawings, I seen that.
So that they would be the main beneficiary of this.
Of what sort of sheet?
It's already.
It's already.
So they were gonna be able to town as it was when it started construction.
Yeah, see, we had, the only thing that had to be lowered was between the last two men. So
Yeah. The last 6 months.
the last section of lines is what they paid for deeper depth for.
Then they called and said, "Here's our plan, but y'all's plan to make it work."
Did y'all make the decision to do that, or did the board make the decision to do that? I don't remember us even having a conversation about it, maybe when I wasn't here. And like I say, I'm getting older people, sometimes I don't remember things.
But because it was in the middle of the construction of it, I guess I did
Okay.
do that.
But typically, that's operational,
And that'd be
Yeah.
on him anyway.
so that would be on you anyway. But I see when the question.
But that's why I said if you're willing to pay for the depth, we're already putting it in, that's the only thing that changed with the depth.
Okay.
We wouldn't have done that if it was us. We would have done what we did.
How did that depth of 6 feet equate to $6,000? I mean,
It's what Mr. Kemp charged to dig that deep. There's a different level of
okay,
footage.
so just so
It goes
we're
up,
digging that
deeper
much
you
of it,
go.
that deep, that's what it costs more.
And it was, that's a 200-foot section.
Really, make sure I understand.
We originally had like 6 feet deep on the ledge. So
Yeah, we originally had 6 deep. That ups his price when he goes another, I think he goes from 0 to 5, 5 to something else. It's
And
different
we
price.
have not been paid back for that because we haven't billed them for that, or we billed them and they haven't paid us.
I can technically build it now if I wanted to. I just thought
Why?
we had, I can't.
I mean, if they're gonna pay for it. I mean, if we don't, then we pay for it. They didn't pay for it.
I think in his letter to his bank, he had to put it out that we were doing what we were doing and he had to pay for it.
Did he verbally agree with it?
I will, I can, it's not too good.
Get that.
I think it's one bill that we get him just in one building.
Because he has multiple more, he has more bills coming.
He has to pay tap fees and all
Right.
this stuff coming.
But that may never come.
Well, they've been out here working, getting this
Okay.
ready. You know, I don't know, I've seen them working.
We've done this, get them paid for this, if they're supposed to pay for it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm good. That's not an issue.
Thank you. Got a second for my motion?
Bad debt right off.
We just have to report it to you for the comptroller.
That's the way it's set.
They require it to be reported to you. We have to approve it. I approve it, y'all have to just be reported to that. Y'all might recognize that it was reported to you in the minutes or something.
Do we need to vote on this? Is this something you just want us to?
No, I don't
need
need to look at that with something that would be beneficial to do.
And I agree with
There's a way to tell what percentage of the revenue this write-off would be. 0.5%.
I can try to figure it for you guys. I don't know right off.
You'll have to just,
But, you know, I've, in the past, utility work, it's always been talked about going, getting election agents to go after. I know a lot of times when the people I'm serving say they don't really work.
I'll look into it, they don't charge us.
You might get pennies on the dollar or whatever it is, they get the rest of it. And whenever, the occasional time somebody comes in here and we get their money, we can still collect it. It's not, we just, they do that as a financial procedure, they write it off. But we can still collect it. And we have collected some of it.
You vote on this, anybody can move it.
Just that y'all reported back, it's all that they probably wouldn't be
I
hurt.
think we need to acknowledge it and reflect it on the minutes that it's submitted.
I think we reported to you last year, but we didn't acknowledge it in the minutes and we had to do it later in the year. That's what happened last time. I think it was given to y'all. but we
Acknowledge the
didn't
bad
report it.
debt write off at $17,088.75.
That's about 0.4% total revenue.
17,000 overall, that's not bad.
Can I ask a question? Do we entertain trying to recover this? Do we have a collection agency?
That's what we was talking about.
Okay, do we? I'm sorry.
It's, what'd you say, Evan? 0.4% of your total income.
Well, I understand that, but it's still a lot of money that
We
we can
definitely,
look
do you
at.
do try to do any kind of debt collection on them?
We don't.
Right now?
That's
Just
all.
if somebody comes back in
We
and set up
did.
another account, they have to pay their.
They have to
bad
pay
debt.
the
Why do we not turn these over to a collection agency and say,
We can
collect?
look at it, y'all have to.
Well, usually.
They get 50%, they take them, you don't pay them anything unless they get it. Am I wrong in that? So why are we just, I mean, I understand this need to write it off, I'm not saying we need to be the ones collecting it, but there are people, that's their job, they collect things like this. So why are we not turning these over to a collection agency to collect them? Are we afraid of bad PR? Are we, I mean, why have we not done it? I mean, we did that with, we didn't, but with the ambulance
Well,
service
we
for
did.
years, we didn't collect ambulance bills, and then we hired somebody, that's all they did, and now our ambulance service is solvent, because they're collecting the bad debts.
Let's look into it.
We can look into it.
Well, thank you. I think we should.
Yes.
Okay, you may.
Do we need a motion on?
You can take that as a motion if you need it as a motion.
Yes, sir. We need a
I'll
motion.
second.
All in favor?
Alright.
Any opposed?
Is this something you want to look into? You're gonna look, who's gonna look into it?
We're looking into it.
He's a day-to-day person. It's
Okay.
his responsibility to ask him, look and see what
Yeah.
practices and other water jurisdictions or
Check
departments
with other
are.
districts, see what they.
And I'd also like to see the water departments treat it differently than water districts.
We can check into and see our neighbors and districts, and we got some other county and city government type.
That'd be
That'd be great.
Get us some information.
We can, I'll bring it back to you.
Let's have all that up.
Public comments.
See, no?
See none.
I'm good.
All right. Board member comments.
Mr. Gregory will give you you never say anything, but I thought I'd try.
It has been noted.
Awesome. All right, board member comments.
Yeah, I don't wanna bring it to the board, the county just spent a lot of money putting in this new AV system at the courthouse. I think we pretty much got all the major bugs worked out of it, and streamed it last night, it seemed to work well, we'll do it again for the industrial development board. I'm gonna ask that all boards and commissions use that space, because it's already set up for broadcasting the meetings and have it recorded, so. And if you do electronic voting, it records all the votes, so you got all your public records all right there in one place, so. I'm gonna make a motion, all future meetings be held at the upstairs courtroom of the courthouse.
I'll second.
Got a motion in a second.
I hope you didn't want me to not, sorry. He looked over at me, I was like, oh boy.
It's coming.
All in favor?
You don't have to sit in the picture, you can stand.
Any opposed?
And I will say, there are 3 people at this table now that's gonna have to rush to get down there to another meeting,
Right.
which would help us to be already there.
Exactly.
So, you know,
I was it's what needs to happen.
You left your point setting, don't you?
Be close to you all.
you afraid you look too much like me sitting up there.
Oh,
We're only at 105.
Let me face all of us, because it's 3 of them, and they'll
He's
switch
you.
around.
Anything else?
anything,
I
anybody
make
else?
the motion to adjourn.
Stop.
Out of here.
Simon.